So what if you're turning one day after your 50th birthday, you had a stroke? You were an avid bike rider, street bike rider, avid backpacker, avid hiker, and then in the blink of an eye, you woke up half paralyzed, stroke survivor. What would you do? Would you give up? Well, you're about to meet a man named Scott White, and he did not give up. So let's bring him online.
Fire.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, Aaron.
Welcome to the Show TV show, bro.
Very much. Pleasure to be here. I'm in my 4th year of survival. It was funny. The morning I had my stroke, I woke up. Something happened in my head. That's when I had the stroke. I woke up stumbling around my house like I didn't know where I was.
Really?
Yep. And then I made the mistake of going to work.
Were you driving at the time you're driving?
I drove to work, and then I realized something was going on wrong, and I didn't know it was a stroke. So I went to urgent care, where after a few hours they diagnosed me as having a stroke, which they sent me to a hospital. And those idiots sent me home not even 2 days later, and I was still having the stroke. I had what they call a progressive stroke, which means that the effects of it hadn't finished running their course when they sent me home. Because when they first sent me home, I had full use of my left arm. I could walk normal. I could think normal. I spoke normal. And the doctors afterwards in the rehab hospital said if they kept me in the hospital on the blood thinners, it wouldn't have been affected me as much. I was in the rehab hospital for about 2 months, because after what happened is when I was first sent home, the day after they sent me home, I started falling down once a day until my left side was paralyzed.
And that's part of that progressive stroke you're talking about. I've never heard of that.
I never had either. But I'm very thankful that I was just smart enough to always have my cell phone on me. Because after the 6th time I fell, I couldn't get myself off the floor. Had to call 911 to come get me and drag me off the floor to the hospital. And then I was in the rehab hospital and dealing with issues with that. And I always had a rule, Aaron, at the hospital with the therapists. They loved it. It was called the rule of +1. Because, Aaron, remember when you were in rehab, they want you to do something 6 times? The rule of +1 meant they were going to get 7 of those reps.
Well, let me back up just a minute, if
Okay.
I can, please. And please describe your pre-stroke life. What was it like?
I was a corporate accountant and very happy and riding a motorcycle every weekend, even during the days to the office. I would hike trails in the mountains here in Georgia. My life was active and full. Listening to music and things like that.
Did you have any warning signs if you were going to have a stroke? Did you have any dizziness, headaches, anything?
No, sir.
Did you smoke?
No, sir. Never.
Oh.
I don't even like the taste of alcohol.
The inspiration I constantly repeat is as fast as lightning strikes, I became stroke survivor. It happens that fast. I mean, here you are, corporate accountant, riding motorcycles, avid outdoors backpacking, hiking, and as fast as lightning strikes, you wake up half paralyzed like me and millions of other people around the world.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wasn't paralyzed, thank God for that, but I was to the point where, I was stumbling around like I didn't know where I was. But I went to work. I didn't recognize the signs. My face was slack, they told me, but I didn't recognize it. And if I'd gone during those first 4 hours, when they give you that special drug that really negates the effect, I was well past that by the time they gave me that drug.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And my therapist loved me because I never said no when they wanted me to do something.
Yeah, that's something, Scott, that I really want to touch on, because there's so many stroke survivors, and I just got through talking to a TBS survivor this morning that you could tell it was dark and miserable and just absolutely bitter what happened to him. And I believe life, whether you're a stroke survivor or some other whatever, life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to what happens to you. So how do you keep such a positive attitude throughout your stroke?
Forgive me for throwing faith in this, but God doesn't let me give up. I do it every day. As I was telling you before we came on camera, I walk 7,000 to 8,000 steps a day. I don't take a day off. I don't feel the need to at this point.
Right. And how many years post-stroke? What year did you have a stroke?
I had it in 2017. Okay. The day after my 50th birthday. Hell of a birthday present.
Yeah, really. Yeah. I've been to a good time for a stroke, but one day after your birthday.
Because a week and a half before that, I was riding my motorcycle back from New Jersey on the Blue Ridge Parkway. If the stroke had hit me there, I could have gone over a cliff.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So, in your life, the way you are, your attitude, is stroke a negative thing for you, or have you turned it to a positive?
It's a positive, Aaron, because as I was telling you before we started the show, the stroke was a blessing in the sense that my mother died the year after my stroke, not even a year after my stroke. It gave me the last 8 months of her life with me. So that's how I look at it as a blessing. The only problem my mother had is any new stroke survivors is the caregivers, and you've probably experienced this. They want to do too much for you, because they don't want to see you hurt yourself or fail. And my caregiver suddenly died, and I had to learn to do everything for myself. In a few weeks after that, I was dressing myself. I was taking showers with no problems on my own. I didn't need any help doing it. I would go shopping, which to me meant I was getting a sense of normalcy to my life.
But had you listened, I someone that struggled with that area, but had you been in the submission of a caregiver, you would have never learned to do that on your own.
It would have been much slower because she would have still insisted doing it for me.
Right.
I do everything for myself. I cook for myself. I shop. I make decisions. I pay all the bills. The only thing I wish they had done in therapy, believe it or not, is that I wish they had included music in the therapy.
Music.
Well, Aaron, I'm serious. I mean, I didn't realize until 8 months after my stroke that I hadn't listened to any music. I used to listen to 6 or 7 hours a day at the office. And by that point, I mean, I try listening to it now, but it doesn't mean anything to me. It's not the same feeling.
So what's your favorite type of music?
I love rock and the blues and jazz.
I love blues too. Old rock, 90s rock.
70s, 80s rock I can deal with. I love jazz from the 20s. Blues from the 30s. My music taste was eclectic.
Yeah, okay, so curious, Scott, as you went through this journey, you went through a stroke, what have you taken away from your journey as a stroke survivor? What have you learned from this?
That no matter how dark it seems, never give up. You may not get back everything you've lost. I mean, this is my left arm. If I let go of it, it's going to drop. I can get it here and hold it here without holding it, and it's still going to slow. But I know at some point I'll be back on a motorcycle. It'll be a trike, but I'll be there. And I'll drive again. I just have to be taught how to drive one-handed. But I learned you can find things to help you compensate for the impairments from your stroke, as I call them. I don't say I'm disabled. I just have impairments to what I want to do. I mean, I need to use a cane when I walk just to have it there as a safety factor. If I'm stepping over some of the steep ramps in areas, because sometimes stores will have steeper ramps than they should have for people like us. So I can walk, Aaron, I can hold the cane just with my fingertips and not need to use it. Right. But what things I do, Aaron, is also I recognize that I have limitations. I don't define myself by those limitations. So like when I'm saying I use the cane, I can hear a car coming from behind me from a distance, but I will put the cane down and put my hand on it, because sometimes people don't realize that they should not beep their horn at people who are using a cane, because I don't need to be startled. Because if I fall, I'm going to be calling an ambulance to pick my butt up. Yeah. And things that help me, Aaron, is, believe it or not, I have all the photo albums on my computer from all my hikes and everything. So I can look at those, or I can look at the photo albums on Facebook. And I can look at those and remember what I used to do.
You don't have, you dream. You said, I'm going to ride a bike again.
Oh, yeah.
So I, too, have the same dream. I'm going to drive. I'm still dreaming after 11 years post-stroke. So, yeah, that's amazing. Every stroke survivor out there needs a dream again. And don't give up their dream.
Well, Aaron, it also is the mental attitude for it, and realizing it's like, I mean, this may sound stupid, but every morning when I get up and after I've taken care of my morning pills, I put the clothes out that I'm going to put on after I take my shower later in the day. It's part of my routine. I know what I'm eating for dinner tonight. But the other thing is that you need goals. I mean, we can't always meet every challenge we put in front of ourselves, but we can try. I just wish people wouldn't give up. I wish that healthcare worked better for us. I mean, I don't know if it's nationwide or not, but it takes 2 years to get Medicare once you're disabled. Yeah. Which is a joke for people like us.
Yeah. Well, you've got really cool, like, God give the inspiration for a project called Bridging the Gap Project. And what it is, Stroke TV is going to produce a video series from beginning of stroke to end. It's designed to help the stroke survivor and the family members navigate, the nuances of stroke and hospital and what to expect, and really kind of give a place to relate to. Because, I don't know about you, but I felt so alone when I first had my stroke.
When I was in the rehab hospital alone, I felt alone because the way my brain was working, my sister at the time told me, don't tell him not to post anything to Facebook, because mentally I was jumbled. People were always asking her what I meant, or was I okay? Yeah. I even see it on the Facebook memories, stuff that comes up. I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't repost that.
Well, you did remember you were healthy from your stroke, and couldn't even remember who you were, right? Didn't you? What you told me or something like that.
No, I remembered who I was. I had no problems with that. I knew who I was. I could always, when the nurses came into my room to always check, how they do that. They was like, okay, they want to scan your badge and everything. They're like, okay, what's your name and birth date? No problem here. Ronald White, 9667. And having to be dressed every time I went to therapy was a pain in the butt. Yeah. My problem with the rehab hospital is they never trained me to do those things for myself. because, as I was telling you before, I had to have a catheter, which nearly killed me twice with sepsis, which is blood poisoning.
Yeah.
So once they took that out, my brother took it out back in the backyard and shot it with a shotgun. And by the way, I'm not kidding. He really did.
Right.
And after they took that catheter out, I started doing my walking therapy. I picked a place in my living room where I could do laps from my couch to the kitchen and to the door into the garage. I started with 10 a day.
Without a cane and with a cane.
I always held the cane because my caregiver, my mother, would have shot me if I didn't carry it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I always had it. I would hold it in the air, but I wouldn't put it down.
Yeah, I think probably the hardest thing I got through is being in wheelchairs. Talk about pain. It gives them new meaning of what pain is. But I like you dream. I'm gonna walk and drive again someday.
Well, Aaron, there are people who are affected like us. I mean, like I am with the stroke without the use of the left arm. The Taggart Driving School teaches people who are disabled like us how to drive one-handed. So you have to get what I call those suicide knobs, the steering assist knob to use. Once I can do that, I'll practice in my neighborhood, and to the point I can drive 20 or 30 miles. Because my goal is just to drive to the state parks nearby, just to walk around and see the scenery.
Yeah, Tony, I have a dream. We have big redwoods here in California, and we have a place called Armstrong Grove in this town called Guerneville. Huge redwood trees, giant mammoth redwood trees. And I have a dream while walking through those redwood trees. I can smell them. Look, right now, I can smell redwood trees. I can't wait.
Well, funny thing is, remember you asked me about what my pre-stroke life was like?
Yeah.
If the stroke had taken another year to hit me, I would have ridden up in California on 5 all the way to Oregon.
Yeah.
That was my 51st birthday trip. I had planned I was going to ride cross country on the motorcycle.
Wow. What kind of bike did you own, bro?
I owned a Yamaha Deluxe 2013 1300cc bike I loved.
Oh, cruiser. Cruiser.
Set up to be a touring bike.
Yeah.
Got 50 miles to the gallon. It was great.
Yeah, a touring bike is the way to go. It really is. I was never into the Harleys. I rode a street bike.
Bike with the trailer kit. I mean, the trike kit on it. I've got it all picked out.
You never talk about our dreams, and you're okay with riding a trike with an auto transmission.
As long as I get my knees in the breeze, I don't care.
Knees in the breeze, okay.
Because from the stroke, as I was saying, I mean, I can't use my left foot to shift anymore.
Right.
I mean, even if I could shift, Aaron, I still might go with an automatic transmission.
Right.
Because riding in the mountains, a lot of times you're shifting a lot, so that way I wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, one of the things I'm lucky enough to do, Aaron, like I was saying before, I can go to the store and shop for myself. So Uber and Lyft, I mean, I've got the drivers. Most of them will let me sit in the front seat because they know it's harder for me to get out of the back seat safely. But with the pandemic, a lot of them make me sit back there.
Now, where do you live, bro? I forgot what you said. Georgia.
I live in Georgia in a town called Powder Springs.
Yeah.
Which is about 35 miles west of Atlanta.
So Georgia, that is the Blue Ridge Mountains, or what mountain range is in Georgia?
It's the tail end of the Appalachians.
Appalachians Mountains, that's right.
But we also have the Blue Ridge Mountains. You have to go north about 60 miles for those. But for me, that was normal. My normal weekend ride was 400 miles.
Oh my goodness.
My friends used to nickname me, forgive me for this, but Iron Ass.
I did.
Because I had no problem doing that. I loved it. Because I would go up there and I would ride near a waterfall and go hike a trail. Then get back on my bike, ride another 100 miles and go eat lunch.
Well, you know, it's funny to hear you talk. I hear the fire in your attitude. You love bike riding, but you know, so many times when someone has a stroke, my experience helping stroke and TBI survivors worldwide, if they have a stroke or TBI, and they end up stopping dreaming, stopping living. And I think it's critical for survivors to dream. And I don't think you may lose your ability to do those things. I had someone tell me not too long ago, said if you're an avid writer, avid fisherman, avid hiker, you're still that person. You can't do it, but you're still that person inside. You gotta dream. You gotta keep dreaming.
Aaron, I can remember being in the rehab hospital. I was on the ninth floor, and my windows, I would tell the nurses leave them open because I could see the trees changing color, and I could see the mountains in the distance. And I kept telling myself, I'll be back there. I remember my therapist taking me outside in the wheelchair just so I could feel the fall air, and I could see the trees.
Yeah, you love the outdoor stuff. I love that. Man.
Oh yeah, I mean, as survivors, we have to come up with our own therapy sometimes. So one of the things for my stroke is I have left side neglect. Have you heard of that, Aaron?
Yeah, okay.
I mean, one of the things I came up with as a therapy once I came home is I started playing mahjong.
What was it?
I started playing mahjong. It is a Chinese tile game where you match up the tile types, and they form just different pictures like butterflies. But it's a game of basically it's retraining your brain to think and remember. So, like, say you see a 3 over here in front of you to your right, and you're moving across the board. You have to remember to look to the left for the matching tile, and click on them and remove them. So I did that, and I also played chess online. That was my therapies.
Yeah, well, let's face it, you're a can. So I'm curious. Do you struggle with the numbers, or how you do with numbers?
Reading a string of them in a row is tough for me, but I can do it. But I couldn't do it in a corporate setting anymore because I don't know if I could sit that long. My goal from the day I went into therapy, when I was in the hospital, I was always telling my therapist, I want to go back to work. Because I defined myself by my work for the last 30 years. I mean, Aaron, if I could go back to working tomorrow at the level I used to do it at, I would willingly do it. My bosses would hire me in some job right now. But like I was telling you before, I mean, I find things that make my life easier with my impairments.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you mentioned I define myself by what I did. And I think what I find what sure does to a lot of people, they lose their identity because they lose their ability to do the things that they used to love to do. I struggle with that. And I've been defining who I am and learning who I am deep inside.
Well, Aaron, like in that thought, I mean, I know I may never hike the trails like I used to because of my impairments, but I know I could hike some of the trails. So if I can't get deep into the woods, I can walk around the perimeter of the parks. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does. I think we get quite a few. We get some people there. George is saying hello to you.
Oh, hello,
Sure.
text. But if Aaron, I'll post your things, so they're welcome to friend me if they want to look at my pictures and stuff. I got a couple thousand or so on Facebook.
Now, speaking of that, do you have an email? See somebody out there wants to email you, ask you a question. How do they get hold of you?
My email is rscott6942@yahoo.com. Just put Stroke TV in the subject line, and that way I'll know it's somebody who I want to hear from. The funny thing about that email address, Aaron, that number that's under 6942, forgive me for this being naughty, but it was the dirtiest number that I could come up with that got past the censors when we had AOL. I've had it for 25 years now.
Yeah, just to have you mention AOL. Oh, God. That seems like so long ago. That wasn't really that long ago.
Oh,
Sherry Patterson in Niagara Falls. She's in Niagara Falls. She's saying hello to you. She wants to say hello to you.
hello to you too. Aaron, one of my dreams at this point, believe it or not, is once I start riding a motorcycle again or a trike, I'm going to go down and visit Dr. Tara.
Oh, yeah, I have a dream of visiting Dr. Tara too. I dream about making that money to be able to fly there and take a course and try to because he just presses away to me.
Oh yeah, but as I was showing you before, I want to show everybody now. This tool allows me to cook for myself if I want to cook pasta. Restaurants use these. You can get these for like $20-$30 on Amazon. This is a pasta pot insert. It hangs on the side of the pot, so you don't have to carry the whole pot of water to the sink to dump it out. You can put a pound of pasta in here.
Wow. Hey.
And it handles wood so it doesn't get hot. It rests on the edge of the pot. Boom. You can make things for yourself.
So you sound like Elmo Lugasi when he said boom, but he's a spam.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing, Aaron, that I love it, as a stroke survivor, the way I look at it, I see people doing this, is I live independent. Nobody does anything for me. Not that they wouldn't if I asked them to, but I'm thankful enough that I'm able to do those things for myself. And I found tools like that, or as I was showing you before, one of these one-handed can openers. I went with one of the best rated ones. It's easy to use. So I can open up cans without any trouble.
Right.
Because without the second, the left hand to squeeze the opener, it's tough to do.
Yeah, it's impossible for me. I couldn't do it.
So tools like that make my life easier.
Yeah, Stroke TV, yes, I got to go back through because I spent several days on going through and finding one-handed gadgets like that. Now you showed the pasta maker, the pasta cooker with thing. Could you hold up the pasta cooker one more time? Now that's it. Yeah. So you can put your pasta inside there. You pull it out. You drain the water.
Just let it drain out. You pour it into whatever bowl you want to put it in.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, restaurants use these because when they're making pasta, they don't want to start a fresh pot of water every 2 minutes.
Right.
So they have this. It's great. And the other thing is, Aaron, that I use, I'm a firm believer in the air fryers because mine's an oven style, which can hold it. Mine can cook 12 chicken thighs at one time. So I can cook for a few days at a shot. And as you can tell, without the impairment, I mean, imagine trying to reach into a stove and pull something into an oven and pull a tray out one-handed. Stuff's going to fall over the place and you're going to have grease everywhere.
Yeah.
So I have my air fryer. I haven't used my stove in 4 years. I do everything in the air fryer.
Oh, Sherry Patterson has a question. Sherry Patterson has a question. What did you put in chat which question is, Sherry? Would you? I think it's what store she wants to work out this, but the Amazon is what,
Amazon.
Yeah. Amazon. Yeah, I'll do so. I'll resurrect the one that the gadgets page, and I'll put in our second chance for survivors.
Baron, just later on, I'll go into my Amazon account. I'll copy a link to the product itself for you.
Yeah, would you?
And I'll mail that to you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking for something I miss. I miss. I'll get back to it someday, but I love to cook. In fact, I cook pretty much most of marriage. I would cook. I had this buddy named Scott Jaisman, and him and I used to cook 7 course meals for our wives. So I really enjoyed spending time in the kitchen when they did.
Oh, well, Aaron, that's why I love the air fryer because I can put everything into it and set it. And then if I need to, I can go sit down. And with balance issues like you were talking about, you don't have to worry about falling into a hot stove or a hot oven. The type I have, it doesn't get really hot on the outside, so it's not a danger to me, and I love it.
Now, I hope we won't get that. Though you made me kind of want to do a show with them where we talk about the gadgets. Maybe we will. I think we should do one. We just talk and show the gadgets that we got.
Anytime, Aaron. Don't take so. I mean, as soon as I'm done with you, I'm going to go take my afternoon pills. I'm going to do some walking.
Yeah, great,
Because
great.
it's 30 here, because I know it's 9:30 there, right?
It's 9:30 here, correct?
But my life is. My life isn't as complete as I would like it to be, but it's complete. I miss my old life, but I'm not going to drive myself insane because I'm not doing all those things anymore.
Yeah, Scott. Honestly, I see so many survivors. I picture it looking like you're in a car. They're there's a reason the windshield is so big and the rearview mirror is so tiny. Because if you keep looking back, all the things you lost before your stroke, you forget to look through the big windshield of your life.
Oh yeah,
Compared to that.
but also, like we're saying, don't define yourself by your impairments. I make adjustments to my life because of them. I know later in the day, late at night, or in the evening, I know I'm not at my best for balance. So I make sure while I'm still wide awake, I take my shower in the afternoon, late afternoon. That way I'm safer. And everywhere I go except the bathroom, I have my phone with me when if I'm taking a shower, my cell phone is not with me. But otherwise it's always with me. Just in case I do fall. Because I've fallen twice in the last 4 years. Once I was walking in the street where here in Georgia we don't have sidewalks. We have what I call our rain gullies that lead the water to the sewers. And a car was coming down the street and I moved over. I went over too much and my heel caught the edge of it and I went down.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, and that was nearly 4 years ago now. And then one time I got up from my couch too fast. And I was walking in my bedroom and my blood pressure dropped, they said, and boom, I fell. But I pushed myself to my dresser and pulled myself to my feet.
You didn't get hurt.
Nope. Well, Aaron, one of the things I do is, like when I'm doing some of my exercise stuff, I'm doing things like standing up, sitting down. I do it in a position so I know if I'm not steady, if I'm going to fall, I fall back into the chair.
Yeah, I hear you. I always have a chair being me. I've fallen a couple times. I can tell you when I can feel my weight go from the ball of my feet to the heels. And as soon as I feel the weight get up heels, I'm about to fall. I know I'm about to fall backwards.
I mean, I'm lucky. I've not had. I mean, as you know, Aaron, from talking to so many stroke survivors, a lot of them are in pain. I never had pain.
Wow.
I'm very thankful for them. The only pain I ever had, forgive me for this, is when I had the catheter. Because of where that's at, obviously, it's rubbing. It's not comfortable.
Yeah, right.
Because the medicines they first put me on shut my bladder down. I didn't use nurses grabbing me every 6 hours, sticking a tube in me.
Well, I'm curious, what if there, what advice would you give? Say we have a newer stroke survivor out there watching this show. What advice would you give newer stroke survivor?
If you're still in rehab, go with my rule of +1. If they want, this is my rule I was telling Aaron about before. When I was in the rehab hospital, if they wanted 5 repetitions of an activity, they knew they were getting 6 from me. And that was what I called the rule of +1. They still know it to this day. Every now and then, one thing I would do is, if you can, after you're home, after a few months, go back and visit your rehab hospital. Show the therapist how far you've come. It does them a world of good too. I've done that once, but I'm going to do it again soon once COVID dies down. And some of the advice is, don't give up on yourself. Reach out to Aaron. There are plenty of sources online where you can find things to do. So, I mean, there's therapists you can find on YouTube that Aaron and I both know. She's adorable.
Tara Tobias.
Yes, she is. But she can give you some advice that you can follow. Sometimes with her stuff, I don't follow everything, but I think she's pretty right. The problem that some of us have is we're alone in our recovery. You have to be your own advocate. So don't be afraid to ask your therapist or whichever therapist, your neurologist, what is this doing for me? In the goals I have, is this really helping me with anything? Because I had Aaron, I didn't get a chance to, you love this. I had occupational therapy. And as I told you, I was an accountant. She gave me an accounting assignment to do at home. And she accused me when I went back of overthinking it. And I'm like, I actually listened to her. I said, lady, I'm in therapy for occupational therapy. Shouldn't I be overthinking things? She didn't like that answer.
Huh.
Remember, the assignment was to plan a budget for a family of 4 going to Orlando to Disney World. And so I asked her some questions that any accountant would ask.
Hi.
Like things like how old are the kids? How far in advance do you plan the trip? The reason you have to ask about the kids is, okay, are they boy and girl? Are they, what age are they? Are they, because you would not have your teenage sons sharing a bedroom on a trip with your daughter who's 15. Do the parents drink? And she asked me why. I said, because I have to plan out the booze budget when you go to restaurants, because booze at a restaurant costs more. And how far in advance? I said, okay, because if the kids are above a certain age, they're charged more in their flights than they are when they're 5. And these were questions I came up with she did not like. So I stopped seeing that therapist.
Hey, bro, check out this comment from George. And he's a newer member because I remember check out his comment. Can you say and read it?
I can't see it, but you'll have to read it to me, Alan.
He said, well done. He said, to you, after 10 months of my AVC, I suddenly got bilateral stroke. I got my Harley motorcycle and I found it quite difficult. So he was able to ride, but it was difficult.
The hardest thing for me would be mounting and dismounting the motorcycle, Aaron.
Yeah.
But once I master that, it'll be fine.
I would say probably my hard, let's just stick to phobias. I dream, like I said, that's to drive. I also have a dream, believe it or not. Well, let's say I phobia. I plan on getting to the top of a horse someday. I have a dream of riding a horse someday.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Aaron, I can see it. I mean, I dream of you not using me in that wheelchair anymore.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I remember the day I sent mine back to the rehab hospital or whatever it was, you paid for it. I'm like, I don't need that damn thing. It was sitting in the same spot for 6 months. I'm like, get rid of the damn thing.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever questions anybody has, they can email me or they can find me on either Aaron's seen me. I post on his page. Find me on Facebook, friend me, and I'll show you the pictures. We're answering questions there. But don't make them long questions because, as I said, my reading ability is not what it used to be. So break them up or we'll talk on the phone. I don't care. Yeah, I got nothing else to do other than work on rehab.
Well, I'll put a link to your Facebook profile in the YouTube video.
Okay.
And so if you out there want to get a hold of Scott, he's been nice enough to offer. He's willing to talk to you. I'll put his link to his Facebook page, and you can send him a friend request and message him. But I think the biggest thing that you and I keep touching on that I want to bring up, and if you're a new stroke survivor, you may not think so, but your life is not over. Stroke does not have a period at the end of it.
Definitely. I mean, as Aaron was we were talking before, I mean, I remember laying in the rehab hospital bed, not being able to do anything for myself, needing people to forgive me here, but wipe my ass. The day nobody else had to do that for me, I cried on my bed for half an hour. I'm not ashamed to admit it. And then when I washed my own sheets and I put the fitted sheet back on the bed, I cried for another half hour. Because I was able to figure out how to do it myself.
That's pretty amazing, bro.
Yeah, well, Aaron, it's because I don't give up. I don't want people to do things for me that I can do for myself. That does not mean don't accept help when you need it. It means try to figure it out for yourself first before you go for the help.
We'll repeat that. Really good advice.
I said try to figure it out for yourself first. But if you do need help, don't be afraid to ask for it. Nobody's going to judge you for that. Because people realize that I don't use the word disabled to describe myself at all, ever. When people try to describe me like that, I said, no, I'm not disabled. Because I can get up and walk around. There are plenty of people who can't. I'm impaired. I can't do it like I used to, but I can do it. Like I was telling you before the show started, I go to the grocery stores. I'm lucky enough, I don't need to use an electric cart. I refuse to use them because I figure enough people use them who don't need to. And I'd much rather be charged up for people who really do need them. And I take fun in being able to do that for myself. It gives me a sense of normalcy to my life because it's something I enjoyed doing before my stroke.
Yeah, I think, Scott, you touched on something just now that reminded me that you need to recover. We need to do it first for our own good, for making ourselves better and getting ourselves better.
Yes, we do. But don't be afraid to challenge your therapist on ask them. Don't be afraid to ask them questions. Like, okay, what is it? If you're doing a therapy exercise, what is this doing for my recovery? Be involved in your recovery. Just don't sit there and do it because they tell you to. I don't mean you shouldn't do it. I mean you should question them why.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that because there's a brother stroke survivor named Ralph Preston, very big on helping stroke survivors. But Ralph Preston says the cavalry's not coming. To quit expecting. He says so many times people walk into rehab hospital and say, "Okay, fix me." But you mentioned the key of the gold nugget. You've got to take responsibility for your own recovery.
Oh yeah, I mean, there were times on weekends when I would be in the wheelchair they put me in, so I didn't have to be in the bed. I got in trouble because I wheeled myself to the rehab room, and was starting to do stuff on my own because they were afraid I was going to get up and start doing things, standing and stuff. And they're right, I would have
Yeah.
if I hadn't.
Yeah. I think they put alarms on people like you in the hospital. If I remember right, put alarms in your bed and stuff because you'd be getting up and walking out of the place.
Oh, I got in trouble one night. I still remember it because I had the alarm on the bed because I was a fall risk.
Yeah.
Because I put my legs over the edge of the bed, the nurses came running in. I'm like, okay, what's wrong? What are you trying to do? I said, I felt like sitting up. They said, you got back your bed up and that's enough for sitting up. I'm like, but okay. And then I got mad at them in the hospital because one night they tried to kill me.
What?
One night in the hospital, they literally, not meaning to, they tried to kill me. Because I'm a type 2 diabetic. And never in my life have I ever taken insulin. And they gave me insulin.
Oh, no.
And my sugars crashed. Because I'm calling for the nurse, and I'm like, okay, it's very hot in here. I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, it was, can you please turn the heat down, turn the air conditioning on? They came and tested the sugars. I was down to 51 and dropping.
I don't know if it's blood sugar because I'm non-diabetic.
Let's say this: your normal sugar hour is supposed to be 120. So 51, I was low. That was the only day. That next day was the only day I did not do therapy because I was so out of it. But talking about things like that, I mean, I remember one of the weekends that I started being able to do something that I couldn't do the week before. I started being able to move my left leg. My therapist, with my mother in the room, because she was there to help. The therapist, when I showed her my new trick, she said, "Kick me in the butt." I said, "No, I want witnesses to this. I don't want to get in trouble." When I went back to visit her in the hospital, I asked her if anybody else had recently kicked her in the butt. She said, "No, nobody but you." I'm like, okay, I can live with that.
How funny. That's funny.
But the thing is, if you have the chance to go back to your rehab hospital once COVID dies down, as I'm talking to not just you, Aaron, but all the survivors, show them how far you've come so you can inspire the survivors who were there. Tell them tricks you've come up with in your recovery. Because the therapist will admit they don't know everything. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there, physical therapies that they've come up with that the hospitals haven't put in, which upsets me. Some of those robotic things that'll retrain the neurons in the brain. I mean, if they put me in a lot of those, I'd be thankful. I might even pay extra in a few months to go do it myself.
Right.
Because I'm not giving up. I'm never going to give up. I may never get back 100% of what I lost, but doesn't mean I'm giving up.
Bro, I gotta say something, because I have the same attitude you do. And people out there, survivors out there, I want you to hear what Scott is saying. He has said, I will never give up, probably 20 times in a show, but you cannot give up. You only fail. And I'm going to repeat this. So I'm going to say it slowly so you understand me. You only fail if you stop trying. You will only fail if you stop trying. So keep trying, survivor. Keep dreaming. Another thing I not take away from our conversation is start dreaming. If you're not dreaming, survivor, find something you used to love to do and dream of doing it again, and dream and dream and dream. Never stop dreaming.
Oh yeah, I mean, you might have impairments, but that doesn't mean you can't do things. Like Aaron said, he wants to be able to cook again. He will. He may not do it at the level he used to, but he'll still be able to do it.
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling one of the first things again, as soon as I get my pasta cookers, I think I'll make some pasta.
Yeah, I mean, I'll send you that link later on, but that thing's a godsend because, like I said, it doesn't get hot. It has the hooks on it, so it hangs on the side of the pot. It can hold a bunch of noodles. I mean, you can put a couple portions in here, no problem. It has the holes in it, so it drains out the water, so you're not spilling all over the place.
I love it, bro. Thank you for sharing that device. Appreciate that. And I've heard good things about the one-handed can openers. They really work.
Oh yeah.
Let's get together sometime and do a show together, and we'll get some gadgets and show us some gadgets.
No problem. I mean, like I said, Aaron, I mean, I'm thankful for the fact that I can do everything I do for myself.
Yeah, people, I don't want to make sure everybody understood what you said. You live on your own, right? I mean, you're
Oh
by
yeah,
yourself.
passed away after
You
my.
do everything. You cook, you clean, you do everything on your own.
Well, being a guy, cleaning is a questionable thing.
Okay.
But it could you. I mean, everything else, I handle all my bills. Nothing's been late in 4 years.
Wow.
So I handle everything for it. I mean, it's not a problem. I've set my life up in a way that I can do those things. And if you're a stroke survivor who wants to travel places and you can't drive like myself or Aaron, make sure you put both Uber and Lyft apps on your phone and compare the prices. Sometimes one can be cheaper by a couple bucks.
Yeah, I think probably, that really is true. I think being independent, I find the most frustrating thing is that I can't be independent anymore. So, but like you said, keep trying. We can do it. We can
Oh
do
yeah,
it.
I mean, it took me 4 months after my stroke until my brother actually. I'm sorry, 8 months after my stroke until my brother, who became my caregiver after my mother passed away suddenly, let me dress myself. I found ways to do it, and I started timing myself, and I wanted to beat those times. It may sound
Yeah.
silly. It was a joy for me,
Yeah.
just like cooking for myself and going to the store because I wasn't dependent on anybody else to do it for me. I mean, I may have things delivered. Yeah, I may do delivery orders from the store instead of going. That also depends on the weather because I don't like going with the blood thinners. I don't like going outside if it's below 55. I get cold.
Right. Well, I think probably it's another goal that we learned about. Attitude is everything when it comes to stroke. I mean, really, so many people. I'm sure I had a spiritual mentor who passed away from a sick stroke, and he used to tell me all the time that where you focus goes, your energy flows. If you focus on all the negative aspects of a stroke, that's what the energy you will have.
Oh
But
yeah,
if but if you focus on the positive things you're grateful for, that you will have a more positive outlook.
Aaron, I give thanks to God every day for what I can do, and I ask Him every day, what can I do better than I did yesterday? I mean, I was lucky. I had a friend of mine from New Jersey, where I'm from, call me every day I was in the rehab hospital and pray with me.
Oh, look at this. George actually owns a horse. In fact, he is training to ride the horse again someday. George, you need to get hold of me. I need to get on the show and tell his story. I'd love to hear it,
I
George.
mean, there's questions about things. I mean, I'm looking at the trikes for the motorcycles because it doesn't have to be a Harley. It doesn't have to be a true trike. It can be a bike that's converted into a trike. I'm looking at the Honda 1100, which is a newer motorcycle. Putting a trike kit on that has an automatic transmission would be great for me. Or a Honda Silver, which is a scooter, but with a 600cc engine, and it's a Honda. It'll 300,000 miles.
Do you guys hear the passion? I so many times I talk to stroke survivors who do not have passion in their life because they don't dream, they don't realize they're in control of their destiny. And I'm gonna go back to I want everybody out there to realize life, whether you're a stroke survivor or not, life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you respond is your attitude.
Well, Aaron, along that line, I mean, I'm going to keep trying to recover until the day I stop breathing.
That's me too, bro.
I mean, I know, and I don't want to question everybody else what they believe, but I know in the after we're dead, I'm gonna have a perfect body, so my arm will work again. So I don't need. It doesn't matter if it doesn't or not here.
Yeah.
You know,
I hear you. Well, I think it's encouraging to hear how independent you live independently. I'm just independence is what I think most stroke survivors. I know I do. I strive to do, and I need to. I think you gave another gold nugget earlier. That I want to bring back, and you said try it first yourself, and then ask for help if needed. So I challenge all stroke survivors worldwide, try what it is you do on by yourself first.
Oh yeah, I mean, when it comes
Yeah.
to walking and stuff, I encourage you to try it, but don't put yourself into dangerous situations.
Right. Thank you for that. Yeah.
I mean, Aaron, I have a thing for my driveway. I know it takes me 2 minutes to do a perimeter walk of my driveway. So if I do 2 laps of that, that's the same amount of time it takes me to walk down my friend's house down the street. So I know how many laps I'm doing. I know I walk at 30 to 40 minutes a day easily, sometimes an hour and a half. The key is, as a new stroke survivor, especially with some of the meds you're on, if you decide to go to a store, just mentally know where the bathroom is ahead of time.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, as I was telling Aaron, after I had a catheter for 3 months, after that, forgive me for being disgusting, but I can't retain like I used to. When the urge hits, I'm going.
Yeah, me too.
So, like, if I've been walking in the store for 35 to 40 minutes, I will do a preemptive bathroom run.
Yeah. That's what I do preemptive. Do it before it happens.
Before the urge hits. And, like, I'm sorry if I'm grossing any other survivors. I'm just giving you some of the facts of my life.
Right. Well, there are all of us stroke survivors have similarities. And, I think there's one defining thing. It's your attitude, survivors.
Oh,
You've got to have a good attitude.
and make sure you have a good support base with your friends. Make them understand. I mean, if they need to, just help them understand what you can't do anymore. It doesn't mean you don't want to do it, but you can't do it.
Right. Right.
But because
for now, can't do it for now.
Oh yeah. But anybody, like I said, when anybody wants to ask me questions, we'll get together on either through emails or Facebook. I mean, because I'm not the authority on anything. I know that.
No, but you're a professional stroke survivor like me. I mean, I've undergone no formal training, but look what I'm doing. I mean, you're qualified to lead because number one, you're a leader. Number two, you're a survivor.
Oh yeah.
Well, Scott, we're at the end of the show. I really appreciate you coming on, bro. I really appreciate being here. Is there any final words you'd like to give anybody, or
just like we've been saying, don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Just because you may fail 50 times doing something, you may start doing it. You may never do it. It's the reality of life. Doesn't mean we're all presidents and we're not all millionaires, but you don't give up on it because you can't do it. I may never hike a mountain trail like I used to, but I can still get into the mountains and enjoy the scenery.
Wow, that is great advice. I mean, it's again, it comes down to attitude, gratefulness. Be grateful. You're grateful just to be in the mind, to smell the fresh air.
Oh yeah, so I'm very thankful to God for all I can do.
Yeah, I want to close with this statement. Remember, you can never fail if you don't stop trying. Scott, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you for being the Stroke TV. Thank you so much, bro.
No problem, buddy. You have a great day. Do your therapy.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
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 Like what you just heard? Visit c-suiteradio.com. C-Suite Radio, turning the volume up on business.